Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's live stream AMA. It is going to be a packed AMA because there's so much going on right now. There's so many exciting things happening. So we're going to go through all of them, and then we will obviously hop in your questions. So if you have any, throw them in the YouTube live chat or the Twitter live chat. Let's keep it farmer friendly. Let's have a good time, and let's bring up Luke.
Hello, beautiful people. Excited to be here for this AMA today. We just had a pretty big week last week, right? There were like a couple things going on. One, staking went live. We're very excited about staking and what that means for the Pixel ecosystem. We're very excited to have contributed to that. And we think this is a model that is going to become a lot more popular. Not to like toot their own horn, but Pixels has done a few things, right, that have become kind of mainstream inside of Web3 and Web3 gaming. Play the airdrop is a really good example. Like some stuff we've done around referral systems. Everybody has a VIP system now. This is going to be one of those things that I know that people are going to like emulate and maybe even build upon later too. So very excited about it. And I think what we'll do today in this AMA is I can see there's still some misunderstandings or some misconceptions about what the staking actually is, especially around things like the APR. So I'll kind of like dive into that again and explain to you guys and answer some questions about what that looks like. And now that it's been live for a week, it's much easier to understand because there's actually real data in there. We've done some of the first reward distributions and it should all make sense and piece together, right? Some of the other stuff that we'll go over today is we'll keep going into some of the game updates on what's going on with the core game. We'll go over like some future plans as well. Everything that you guys have questions about, basically, we'll go over. A couple key points before we start diving into stuff, and Heidi goes over some of the in-game updates is, people keep saying, guys, focus on gameplay, and believe me, we are. Number one, Staking, what this unlocks is this unlocks more gameplay to be used across Pixel without just the Pixels team having to contribute to this, right? Now Pixel is used in multiple games. That's immediately unlocking more gameplay for the Pixel tokens that you own, right? And we're going to keep expanding upon that ecosystem. Two, the team is working really hard in upgrading core systems. We released some statements over the last couple of weeks, right, that we're kind of changing up some of our long-term strategy on how we build, right? And we identified some of the key issues with Pixels, the core game, and the ecosystem too, over the last couple of weeks. And we're communicating that to the community as well, right? Not everything that we did at Pixels over the last year or two has been the right thing. Pixels has done a lot right. We've also done some things wrong. That's a part of building an early stage, startup. And that's the kind of thing you sign up for in Web3 gaming still. Web3 gaming still has a long way to go, but we're making a crazy progress towards actually building out Web3 games that work, right? Think about where the space was 5 years ago versus today. The space is getting there. And when we finally figure things out inside of Web3 gaming, no game will go back, right? Like every game will have some element of Web3 in it at some point. And we'll kind of dive a little bit into, what Web3 actually means to us and the vision that we see for it. Like transparently, a lot of what we're thinking is, how do we actually make like some Web2 ecosystems more Web3? Like how do we bring more of the Web3 to Web2? So yeah, we'll go over all of this. We'll go over some questions, and we'll dive into this too. We'll give a quick update too on this. So when will the in-game staking be live? We are missing rewards. If you are staking in-game, you are not missing rewards. They're accruing. You just haven't got them into your hands yet. So we'll dive into like the mechanics of how staking works in-game, out of game. We'll explain all of that. But if you're staking in-game, you're not missing rewards. We're collecting them on behalf of users. You'll get distributed to them, but you're not missing any yield if you have staked in-game. You'll just get a bigger first distribution. That will likely go live. The first distribution will be, it should be before end of week. So don't worry, you're not missing out on rewards. Your first reward will probably be a little bit bigger because they're accruing right now, basically. Okay. But yeah, let's dive into everything.
Yeah, so much going on. So we're going to run through a bunch of things. So let's start with one of the biggest announcements we had, obviously, this week was, okay, hold on. Move other media streams. Got it. We know how this works. Forgotten Runiverse. Pixel went live in the Runiverse. So actually, Luke, why don't you talk a little bit about this before we move on to some of the in-game stuff?
Yeah, this ties into staking too. And you'll see the bigger picture now. I think some people are starting to get it, especially after Pixel Dungeons did their first distribution. But basically what we're doing here at Pixels now is we want to make sure that the core Pixels game is competitive, right? So we kind of have two hats here at Pixels, right? We're core contributors to the Pixel ecosystem, right? And we're also developing a game, Core Pixels, right? So, as our duty to the core, or as our duty to the Pixel ecosystem as core contributors, we have to remain a little agnostic and make sure that what we're doing is best for the Pixel ecosystem, no matter what, too. So the staking system introduces basically almost like competition for the Pixel ecosystem rewards between games, right? So Forgotten Runes is going to be one of the first games that joins the Pixel ecosystem and starts competing for the rewards to give out to its users. And yeah, they basically get to give 5 million Pixel to their users every single month. It's up to them to figure out how they want to give it out to users. But what's in it for the Pixel ecosystem is, they're going to be using Pixel for monetization inside of the game too. So basically, you're going to have to spend your Pixel to earn some Pixel inside of that game, just like you do in normal Pixels, right? And the cool thing is the Pixel that you spend in Forgotten Runiverse, some of it is going to go back to the Forgotten Runiverse stakers. So it basically creates a really interesting flywheel when we get this going, where they're incentivized to, have people use Pixel more, give more rewards to stakers, and then they'll get maybe a bigger share of the Pixel ecosystem rewards that they're doing a good job. If they're not doing a good job and they're not having much Pixel spent inside of the game, then, eventually they might not get as many rewards to give out to their users, right? So if they're not competitive against Core Pixels and Core Pixels is giving out more rewards, then, they're not going to be able to give out as much either. But the great thing is the game is good, and I have a ton of faith in that team and their ecosystem. And basically, we get to share some thoughts and feedback with each other and some notes as well too on what's working in each of our games, what's not, right? So it's an awesome system because basically every game that joins the ecosystem, there's some cool stuff on the back end we'll talk about later, but we're all going to make each other better, basically. Every single gaming company in Web3 is on a quest to figure out how to make a sustainable Web3 game. No one's really cracked the code yet. And the more that we all work together, the closer we are going to get there, right? If we all win, or if some of us win, we all win together, basically. That's kind of the idea. So if you haven't played Forgotten Runiverse, it's kind of different than actual Pixels. At first, when I saw Forgotten Runiverse, I'm like, oh man, they're going to eat our lunch. It's a good looking game and it has some of the stuff that I wish was in normal Pixels. But what's interesting is if you haven't actually played Forgotten Runiverse, is they're actually quite different games. Forgotten Runiverse focuses more on lore. There's more story, quests, and dungeons. There's actual combat mechanics inside of Forgotten Runiverse 2, which a lot of people really want in Core Pixels. So if you haven't played it, it actually might scratch some of the itch of what you want inside of Core Pixels right now, right? Even though we're working on developing out Core Pixels, making it better month on month, it might, satisfy some of what you're looking for. So go check it out. It actually complements like some of the stuff that we offer really well. And what's cool is, if you play Forgotten Runiverse, you're still kind of like benefiting the Pixel ecosystem, right? So it's kind of a win-win for everybody here.
Yeah. Okay. And you know what? I just realized we don't follow them on Twitter. So everyone, this is our mass following the Forgotten Runiverse account event. Here we go. Everyone watching, go follow Runiverse on Twitter.
Maybe here's what we could do too. We haven't really incentivized some content creation in a while too. Maybe what we can do, we can talk about this, Heidi, is we can go through the retweets on that announcement later and give out a prize for somebody that retweets and follows Forgotten Runiverse.
Yeah, actually, I think we already have that going. I think we already have.
Okay, well, we're doing that. Go. We
already have it, so we can double it up though.
Let's double it up. Let's double it up a little bit.
Yeah, great. Okay, so go retweet the Forgotten Runiverse announcement. I think the rule was you could do our announcement or theirs. Ours was a quote tweet of theirs for VIP. Cool. Okay, so to kick off this really fun relationship we have with them, there's lots going on, right? So first of all, there's the quest in Pixels to run around town and collect all the frogs. So let me share my screen. This is the game right now. So I'm gonna leak where one of them. Wait, I need to turn my sound up. Hold on. Okay, you guys can hear the game. Hopefully, because this is really fun. So we go around and we have to try and listen to find the frogs. Okay, the lantern frogs. So hear that. So I'm right next to one of them. So it's right there. Oh, did we place it really close? Okay, you just have to collect your thing first. We're good. So I got one of my lantern frogs for the day. Perfect. And I got some pop berries, which I generally dump in here. So I'll go do that. All right. Well, I'll do that after. Okay. So that's really fun. So make sure you go do that. To start the quest, you've got to go to chat with Dota. Hedge Wizard Dota of the Carnival is the official name. And that'll kick off your quest. So really fun stuff. I love these kinds of treasure hunts. I know we've been doing them more recently, and I think we're going to continue to do them on and off because they're really fun. So there's that, and you need 30 frogs, and then something kind of fun happens. So just stay tuned. And then yesterday we launched another thing with them. If you need a little bit of reputation, here is your chance. Okay, so play Forgotten Runiverse, earn reputation in Pixels, right? So there are 4 different things that you can do here to earn a little bit of reputation for Pixels. So one thing I think maybe we didn't make clear enough is just make sure you log in with the same wallet or attach the same wallet to your Runiverse account that is attached to Pixels, because that's how we'll know who is who and who to give reputation to. So here you go. Complete the Gathering Tree quest. You'll get 25 Pixels reputation points. Complete a dungeon and then buy some mana or boost packs. in the pixel token, and you'll get some rep, which is really fun. And then don't forget that playing the game gets you a chance to win part of the big pixel pool. So there's lots of fun stuff. So go head over to Runiverse, play. There's a link directly to them on the Pixels post if you are looking for the correct link. Awesome. Okay, so that's Runiverse. Lots of fun stuff going on there. Now, you might have seen, we literally just announced this. There have been some leaks over the past week or so, but we just officially announced this like really fun new quest initiative, kind of calling it an initiative because we're experimenting with some new technology here, partnering with Veronica or AI Veronica. And it's going to be kind of cute and fun. So there's 6 characters in the game that Veronica is bringing to Terra Villa. They are a series. There are 3 bachelors, 3 bachelorettes, and you can go and chat with them. And the goal is to get them to like you. And if they like you, they will give you a reward. There is also going to be a leaderboard component of this. AI Veronica is going to be hosting the leaderboard, I believe, on their website. We'll share all of the information tomorrow. This launches officially tomorrow, but there is a whitelist open right now if you want a little bit of a discount on the key to enter. And so what I mean by that is, let me share. This is our staging environment, our internal environment here. But this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so you're going to come into the castle and you're going to head over and talk to Jeeves to kick off the quest. And also click on the counter here to get your hand on a ruby key. So right now, the ruby keys, if you grab them through the whitelist, they are significantly discounted. So if you know you want to participate, go get one right now. But either way, you can pick one up in game tomorrow. And then you come in here and you use your key. Oh, I need to go buy one. Sorry, I think mine got removed. All right, here we go. Grab your key. And which one do I want to talk to? I like her pink hair. Should we talk to the one with pink hair? Okay, this is Miss Avril. So how to communicate with them is through the chat box here. And then she'll chat right back with you. So I'm very interested to see how quickly. Got any rock tales to share? Oh man, this is putting me on the spot, guys. I don't have rock tales to share. Actually, when I was 12, I went to an MCR concert in New Zealand with my mom. It was fun. It was funny. MCR, nice, but that was a wild show. Got a favorite song. Oh gosh, that's so hard. I think the default is teenagers, but like I also feel like there's so many, but teenagers is also so strong. Okay, anyways, see, now I'm already getting carried away with this AI bot. So you chat with them for a while, and if they like you, they'll give you a reward, and there will be a leaderboard. So how the leaderboard works is the users that get the AI to like them the quickest rank higher. And there are some rewards. So this is going to be a 2-week-long event. And the rewards are, so obviously you get a little reward from just getting the NPC to like you. But then there's also some pixel rewards. So I don't have the exact amounts or anything like that right now, but the top 10 players will get 1% each of the total pixel rewards. So all of the pixel that has been spent. Oh no, see guys, I'm getting in trouble. I'm going to lose so badly. All of the pixel that goes into the purchase of the keys, the top 10 will get 1% each. And then the top 100 get something, and the top 101 to 500. So the top 500 users on the leaderboard will get some rewards. So it'll be okay. Yeah, like that's just so good too. It's so hard to choose a favorite MCR song. Anyways, I'm not okay. Like a classic. Okay, guys, maybe we should have a little concert. No, I'm kidding. I will not be singing. Yeah. So this is really fun. It's going to be really fun. I'm excited. A little experiment. Yeah, I think that's most of it right now. There's
Yeah. So what's
on.
going on in the back end here, guys? This is actually kind of cool, and this is like part of the reason why we wanted to go through this is we basically built a way to create an AI agent inside of the game. So these are all actually like powered by AI agents. We built the back end tech to do that also. And the reason why we wanted to go and experiment with like a team to kind of do some of the personality side of things was now we've built basically our own infrastructure to have agents inside of the game if we want to. And we could use them in maybe other ways too. Like one potential feature that we talked about, I'm not confirming that we're going to do this, but this is like some of the rails that we just built is if we wanted to have basically a way to automate some of the farming or the actions inside of the game, we might be able to go and like actually like sell you guys or like have this be a part of the feature set of pixels to have like an AI agent go do the farming for you. Like that would be an interesting thing that we could do in the future, right? Like one of the things that we did that worked really well in the early stages or like maybe around like last year in pixels was remember there was a really big coin OTC problem and that was leading to a ton of inflation inside of the game. There was a similar thing going on with bots, right? When we first started selling in-game coins to users directly, that actually increased some of the like in-game spend inside of pixels. And now that we have staking, you guys should like actually care a little bit more about the in-game spend, right? Like the in-game staking, and we'll talk about this later. We kind of did this to make sure that interests are aligned between players and game a lot better than they were before. Like previously, when you guys were spending in-game pixel, right? It was all going to a community treasury. We're still working on getting DAO governance set up, and the community will eventually take over management of that treasury. There's a bit of legal to do that with, but now what's interesting is we're also sending a portion of the in-game spend as rewards to go to stakers, right? So anytime you spend inside of the game, there's actually much better alignment. And now you actually might even care a little bit more about how well Pixels is doing when it comes to in-game spend, right? Like that was kind of the intention behind staking. So one of the things we can eventually do in the future is, you know, bots were actually causing a lot of economic issues. What if we actually captured some of that value by like having AI agents do some of the menial or like grindy tasks for you, right? There's something potentially interesting there. It's a rabbit hole that we might go down eventually. We're not promising that we're going to do this, but it might be a feature offered eventually. This is kind of the rails to be able to do a feature like that. And it's a cool experiment to see if you guys like this too. So yeah, every time you talk to these like AI agents inside of the game, basically they're kind of scoring you based on, you know, how well you talk to them. That's kind of this mini game. You have to charm them, and yeah, that's the idea here. So it's a cool little test experiment to see if this is something bigger to pursue, and yeah.
All right, I'll stop talking to her. But that was pretty cool because I literally all I said was MCR. I didn't even write out My Chemical Romance, and she responded, "The Black Parade hits hard." Like it's just so like that's so cool. she knows. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Test your charisma stats. So this is fun. Let's see. Is AI Veronica just an AI inside Pixels? Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's an AI. And there will be, like I said, some rewards, not NFTs, but there will be some rewards in Pixel and just some like in-game stuff.
AI agents got more personality than in-game NPC. LOL. Sorry.
I mean
so
yeah.
number one, that's
They're
partly
AI.
the point, right? So that's like a cool experiment to go and see. Even though we are actually, there's some other initiatives internally right now where we're working on more like lore and quest in game. So that's kind of the idea there.
Okay. I'm just going to keep talking to her. Stop. I don't like when she asks me if I'm still around and it stresses me out. Okay. Yeah. So go and head over to Twitter. You can see we have quote tweeted their announcement here. And if you open it up, you can see the link to their website, which does show you here that you can pick up. There you go. It's 50% off right now. So if you know that you're going to play, you can go and pick up. Oh my gosh. Okay. There's like only a few left. So
No, I think it's the other way around. There's many left.
Oh, okay. There's like a lot left, so you guys are good. But yeah, if you know you're gonna go and play, go and pick up a key. Cool.
Yeah. So can we have the AI on our spec? Not now, but if you guys like this feature, that might be something that we implement eventually, right? This is kind of the first like dipping our toes in the water to see if AI agents is something that you guys like, and if it's a good feature, and then it might be something we expand upon later.
Yeah. Nice. Were there any other questions related to this, or should we dive into staking? I think we can.
Any other in-game updates that we want to talk about? Or
Um, yeah, there were a couple small updates yesterday, but significant. So, lots of more items in the Seaside Stash store, which is really fun. Get you in the mood for summer, which is exciting. And this is probably the most impactful big one here. Cooking items are now tradable. We can all party together about this. Okay. So, with that, obviously, the energy component has been removed. So, they no longer give energy. But I think we can all agree that this is great, regardless of the energy features. So, yeah. And then this other update that came yesterday, we've all done it. Okay, we've all done it where we accidentally click on our bed or the sauna rocks when we don't mean to. So now if you have over 900 energy, there will be a little pop-up being like, are you sure? Are you sure? So yeah, a couple good updates from yesterday. And yeah, I think that's there's just so many things going on. Oh, wait, I can leak something.
yeah, leak it.
Okay. Minor leak. I'm not going to give every detail because I honestly don't know every detail, but the team has been working on a new, some new, oh my gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? A new thing. Okay. We're launching a new thing and we want to beta test it. So there's going to be a beta test launch for a new feature. That's the word. A new feature coming to the game. I believe it's going to launch in a few hours. And I'm only going to post about it on on Discord. So if you're on our Discord, you'll see the notification. It's pretty cool. This is an initiative we've been taking on from our live ops team to kind of have things in game that we will continuously have in games. So there's always like something fun going on that you can participate in. So the beta test, and there will be a small reward allocated to the beta test, not as much as what will usually happen. But anyways, that should be launching in a few hours. So stay tuned and make sure you have your Discord notifications on because like I said, we're only going to post about the test there. Yeah. Exciting. Okay.
Oh, and then some people are asking, will they ever do something good with merchant ships? They could have wines, industries, crates with random resources. It's been a month. There's more work getting done on merchant ships. Somebody spread a rumor the other day being like they're abandoning merchant ships. No, we're not. Yeah, there's actually tweaks and there's updates that'll be coming to it soon. So yeah, internally, there's like a few other things we're working on too. Like I can kind of explain to you guys what we're thinking about with the core game right now, and like future updates. So basically, we are making bigger bets on making the core game loop complete. So right now, the only thing that you do inside of the game when you're a higher level or when you've been playing the game for a long time is the task board. And now maybe merchant ships, some of you, merchant ships needs a little bit of work to actually get it used more. But we're still working on tweaking like some of the things in the live game too. So we kind of split team focus into two areas. The first being all the live game updates and still building out systems that make the live game as is right now more enjoyable. So that would be adding in features like this beta feature that we're about to release today or tomorrow, it sounds like, and more features like that as well too. And then the rest of the team is kind of separated its focus into updating the core game. So one of the biggest issues inside of the game right now, and like really we can't move forward when it comes to the gameplay and quality until we address this, is like, what are you doing after you've been playing the game for a long time, right? There's a few different models that we can pull from and a lot of different things that we've been thinking about, but like this is basically going to be what we call chapter 3, right? Adding in more compelling end game loops and more things to do towards the end of the game. We've basically reserved like half a team focus towards just this. And these updates probably won't come for a little bit of time, right? But it's some of the like work that we need to do to actually make the game, you know, as fun as it needs to be to compete with Web 2 games, right? So yeah, we're kind of building out some mechanics right now and experimenting with like a few different ways that we can go down. If you've ever played a game like Boom Beach, we're taking some inspiration from games like that. But a lot of what we're working on right now is basically like completing the crafting loop and having other stuff to do. I don't want to go too much into specifics. I think that'll be like a whole nother AMA soon. But what I can say and like give you some insights into is there's like a few different directions that we're thinking about and like going to be experimenting with. How I view chapter 3 right now is it might take us multiple shots on goal to actually get the right chapter 3 features. We're taking inspiration from what works inside of Web 2, but I also am starting to have the feeling that building like a complete Web 2 game and just slapping on the Web 3 is not really going to work either. Like the free to play model of building compelling end game loops where players, spend for the enjoyment of the game, it's somewhat of an idealistic like mindset, right? And this is where like maybe off the grid and like some other games are going. But then there's also the other Web3 model of like the risk to earn model too, where in the end game for a game like Cambria or Pixel Dungeons, right? The end game in Web3 is sometimes, some people win, some people lose. And you make it very transparent that that's the game that you're playing. And I think we're going to kind of settle in the middle ground between the two, using some best practices from Web 2 when it comes to completing end game loops and adding in like some subtle elements of risk to earn. Now, I could dive into like the business economics of this all day and tell you like the things that we're debating. I think it is better reserved for a separate AMA when we kind of dive into like what is the actual strategic game design? Like who are we trying to build for with these end game loops? Who are we trying to like monetize with? That is important. And again, monetization, we'll talk about this when we go more into staking. It's something that you actually should care about as a participant in the Pixel ecosystem now, because the staking system, right? It actually finally aligns players like a lot more directly with in-game spend, and it's something you should be looking at much more when you evaluate what game you want to stake to. A lot of people were not looking at Pixel Dungeons, for example, and how well they were performing, and they were actually very undervalued in the staking system right now, right? They only had 1 million pixel staked compared to the 50 million at Core Pixels staked. And Pixel Dungeons was actually generating, a good amount of spend and revenue. So they were able to return a ton of rewards to their stakers. We'll go through all of this later. But yeah, this is how we kind of like close that loop with you guys too, where there was something weird in Web 2. And where you spend a lot of money inside of a game in Web 2, right? And you don't really see any benefit from that. Web 3 is really interesting because we can actually align interests between players and game and spend when we build the right systems. And that was kind of the intention behind the staking system. So again, we'll dive into the like economics one more time, because I still see some people misunderstanding some things, and we'll answer some questions on that. We'll kind of explain to you guys again how the APR works, all of this stuff. But yeah, that's kind of the high level for chapter 3. We're still kind of in the direction of like the idea of contestable lands. So that's kind of going to be the core of it, where there'll be a new set of resources, most likely tier 5. You'll have to compete to get these tier 5 resources. They'll be seasonal. The competitive lands will not be permanent. It'll just be something that you compete for extra. And yeah, that's kind of the high level. So with that, let's dive into staking. Let's re-explain it one more time, and we'll go through some of the questions too, because I see some misunderstandings. I see some feedback too, which will be very helpful. And yeah, we'll just dig into it.
Do you want me to pull up the Pixels post, or did you were gonna, right?
So somebody has a question about APR inside of this and ripping sticks. I'll be honest, your comments are actually like incredibly rude. We're probably going to time you out again. Like some of the comments here were, yeah, this team is high level manipulation and weirdo behavior X100. People wonder why Web3 gaming happened because it's led by greedy people. And I'm telling you guys, these guys are compromised. I don't know who they are. They're not working for players. Guys, this staking system actually really aligns players and the game. So we'll kind of explain to you exactly what's going on. But yeah, now we have real world examples, so we can kind of show you what's going on. And what's cool is basically all the data behind these systems are actually backed by on-chain data. So we've been pretty transparent by all this stuff. Yeah, Rip and Sticks, we are going to put you in timeout. Yeah, we'll dive into it. So let's first go to staking.pixels.xyz, and we'll show you what's going on here. So we have the staking dashboard out now, right? we actually got a lot more participation than we even expected. So there are 56 million pixels staked inside of the game right now, which is pretty incredible. Yeah, it was a pretty good, successful initial launch. And how it works now is you're starting to see some real examples. If you go and choose to stake to a game, you can go into the game and you can see how much is staked to the game and how many rewards the game is given out, right? And you can also see the distribution frequency. So how does this work? There's 51 million staked pixel right now, and 255,000 pixel that have been given out as rewards so far to pixel stakers, right? Now, where does that pixel that is given out as game rewards come from? Let's kind of go explain it. So here, I'm going to show you guys this tab and explain to you guys the system again. I think it's a lot easier to visualize. So here's the system at large, right? Let me see if I can get into a presentation.
Oh my God.
So I want to get rid of this. Get out of here. It looks complicated, but it's not. It is complicated, but it's not so bad. I promise. Okay, so how does the system work? Let's start with the top. So if you go to our tokenomics, actually, let's go to the Binance page first, because the tokenomics for Pixels has still stayed the same. If you go to Binance and you look at the official tokenomics of Pixels at the release, you'll see that we basically reserved a certain amount of tokens for ecosystem, for advisors, treasury, all of this stuff, right? Now the ecosystem rewards are where all of the emissions are coming from, primarily inside of the game. There are 28 million pixel that are given out every single month for the ecosystem rewards, right? This has been the same since the launch of the game, since the TGE. None of this has changed. There's 28 million pixel given out for ecosystem incentives and growth every single month. It's given to the community. Now, what did staking do differently? So staking, what's going on instead is now we're actually giving out emissions, not just for pixels, but to different games, right? And this has already been happening with Pixel Dungeons, the first thing that we did. Now Forgotten Runiverse is the second game to join the Pixel ecosystem. So it all starts with these monthly pixel emissions, right? Now there's 28 million pixel to give out to different games, right? In the staking light paper, we have told you guys there's different phases to staking and how it's going to go live, right? There's a phased rollout plan. So how it works is we're in phase 1 right now. Basically, that 28 million pixel is split up in a fixed amount between the games. Right now, Core Pixels gets 20 million pixel to give out to its users every single month through in-game rewards like the task board, merchant ships, everything else. Pixel Dungeons gets 2 million pixel to give out to its users every single month. Forgotten Runiverse gets 5 million pixel to give out to its users every single month, right? So those numbers are fixed right now. Eventually, and actually we're going to do this quite soon. The goal is to go live with this as soon as we can. We're going to switch to phase 2, dynamic pools. So instead of having fixed amounts go to each game, what we're going to do is the amount staked to each game will determine how much pixel each game gets. So let's show you this chart because now it's going to start to make a little bit more sense. So when we first switch to the dynamic pools, what we're probably going to do is we're going to reserve a certain amount for core pixels always, right? So that 28 million pixel is going to get split up. We'll probably make sure that core pixels will always get 10 million pixel a month, no matter how much is staked to it. And then we'll split up the other amount, basically, the remaining percent. If that percent was, 20% is always reserved for core pixels, the 80% would get split up between the other games, but it would basically be split up between how much is staked to each game. So in this example, let's say that core pixels is now getting, well, I'll just write the numbers here actually. So core pixels, they're getting 5 million, or they're getting 20 million pixel a month. Pixel Dungeons is getting 2. And then Forgotten Runiverse is getting 5, right? So these are the rewards that they're able to give to users. It's not the amount of rewards they're giving to stakers. It's rewards that they're giving to, their players, right? Again, so core pixels, we're giving it out through task board and other mechanics, right? Pixel Dungeons gives it out through like the missions, and then Forgotten Runiverse is doing that huge prize pool, right? Nowadays, Luke talks less about game and more about pixel ecosystem. Guys, we literally spent the first half of the AMA talking just about game. And then the ecosystem is cool because that is actually a very important part of what we're doing, right? So how it works is basically Pixels gets 20 million pixel every single month right now. And what they do with that is Core Pixels actually gives out these rewards to users. And then when we give out rewards, we talk about in-game spend a lot, right? This is why you actually should care about it now. So Core Pixels, we make these numbers public. We have a public dashboard and you can see it. Core Pixels has a certain amount of in-game spend every single month, right? There was 6.5 million pixels spent in game in the last 30 days. Now what's going to happen is that 6.5 million pixel in revenue that we've been making is actually going to get distributed towards the players who are staking to the Core Pixels game, right? And that's where this APR and these rewards come from, right? So there is 51 million pixels staked. And here, maybe if I can go to the maybe I can go to this again too. So let's go to just today. How much pixel was spent in game today? There was 61,000 pixels spent in game today, right? Now, if you see Core Pixels is given out 255,000 pixel to its stakers just since staking went live, right? Now, there's a certain portion of pixel that's getting spent in game that goes back to community treasury, and 20% still gets spent back to the ecosystem so that we can go and do more user acquisition in the future. But we're basically sending a portion of that in-game spend inside of a game as rewards to the stakers in order to incentivize players to stake to Core Pixels rather than the other games, right? So it's not a rev share model per se. We can give out whatever percent of in-game spend that we want to, but we want to be competitive against other ecosystems. And we want to make sure that people are staking to Core Pixels rather than Pixel Dungeons or rather than Forgotten Runiverse in the long run, right? So in order to do that, we do want to give out rewards to our stakers because we have to compete too, right? So that's where these game rewards are coming from. The game rewards are not coming from that 21 million pixel or that 20 million pixel that are coming every single time. It depends on basically this metric, return on reward spend. So we've been talking about return on reward spend for a very long time, right? And I don't think a lot of you cared about return on reward spend because why would you, right? You guys didn't care about return on reward spend at all, but now you really should, right? Because if the return on reward spend in Core Pixels is better, if we can basically turn this 20 million pixel of incentives that we give into, more in-game spend, that means we are able to give out more in-game rewards to the people staking to Core Pixels. And this is where this really mattered for Pixel Dungeons, right? So Pixel Dungeons, they have 3 million pixels staked to them right now. But what people were missing from Pixel Dungeons is Pixel Dungeons has actually been performing quite well. Pixel Dungeons actually has a pretty good return on reward spend. Their return on reward spend in May so far has been 81%. So that means for every single pixel of rewards that they're giving out, they give out, they get 0.8 back. So for 2 million pixel, they are getting, 1.6 million pixel in spend back. And that means they're actually able to give out like a good amount of the rewards they're getting, that 2 million to the stakers. And this is something that a lot of people were missing when they were initially staking, right? And that's why they were able to give out so many rewards in game. If you look at the in-game spend inside of Pixel Dungeons, their revenue has actually been quite healthy, right? They're doing 89K in pixel revenue one day, 57. And they were able to give out a good amount of rewards to their stakers without that many people understanding that there was only so much staked to Pixel Dungeons, right? So what we expect to probably see is the APR, and this one is actually quite high. How APR works inside of this, right? It's very simple. Basically, APR for each of these games, it's just split by a percentage to the stakers inside of the game. So since there was only 1 million pixels staked to Pixel Dungeons, and they were able to give out 300,000 pixel in rewards, the reward per staker was actually very high in Pixel Dungeons, right? Now, Pixel Dungeons distributes rewards every 7 days. It looks like there's already many more people that will be staking the Pixel Dungeons now. But again, this is the key concept here. The better return on reward spend that a game has, the more of the rewards that they give out will be able to be returned to stakers, right? It's a very interesting system. And this is what we mean by sustainable. So we won't say, somebody asked, is Pixel sustainable yet? I'm not going to say Pixels is sustainable yet, or the Pixel ecosystem is sustainable yet, until return on reward spend is 1 across the ecosystem. That's when things get much more interesting. Now, if you go back to this chart, look at how much better Pixel Dungeons is getting, right? Their return on reward spend was 40% in February, and now it's 80%, right? When that crosses 1, something very interesting starts to happen, where basically the ecosystem becomes net profitable, and we're able to start to scale out rewards even more. So what's cool is right now this pool for the rewards, it's 28 million pixel a month, right? But what happens when a game is given 10 million pixel and then there's 15 million pixels spent inside of the game, right? That's actually more pixel here. Or even imagine if we gave out all 28 million pixel from the ecosystem rewards in a given month, right? And the ecosystem then returns 40 million in spend. Then we can start actually giving out even more rewards. And it's not coming from the net emissions. It's not net inflation, right? Because that is coming from here, and it's coming from actual value generated inside of the games. And we're going to be able to start to scale up rewards, but not emissions. So that's the interesting thing. And that's when we're going to kind of say that like Pixels is sustainable, right? So there's still some work to get there. But this is why you should care about ROARs and this return on reward spend metric. Because basically, in the long run with the system, the games that have the better return on reward spend are going to be able to return more rewards. So Pixel Dungeons just did their first reward yesterday. They'll do another one in a week. I probably expect more people to stake to Pixel Dungeons because of this soon. So again, how this system works is if more people stake the Pixel Dungeons, right, there's going to be maybe the same amount of rewards. If they get more spend inside of the game, the amount of rewards that they'll be able to return next week will be higher, but it's going to be going and spread across more people. So the return or the APR will be less, right? Same thing with Pixels now. So Pixels returned more rewards again yesterday. The APR was like 12%. 12% on Monday. Yesterday it went up to 41%. The APR is an estimate. It's variable, right? What you're soon going to be able to see here is you're going to be able to see, we'll change this chart to make it make more sense. You'll be able to see an APR day by day, and you'll get to see how many rewards the game gave out that day, what the APR of that day was, and you'll get to get a better idea of like the historicals. Basically, to build a model or assumptions of what game is probably the best one to stake to, it'll be really good to see the game's history of how much rewards they were able to give out on whatever cadence they give them out on. But yeah, it's kind of the idea. So again, if Pixels performs better, if basically you guys spend more pixel inside of the game, that means staking, you'll probably receive more rewards for staking, right? And that's why this matters to you now, right? And that's why it's more aligned. Because before, maybe you guys didn't care about when we were talking about in-game revenue, right? But now you do. And that's just how we're kind of aligning the interest between players in the game a little bit more now, right? So yeah, next game up is Forgotten Runiverse, right? They're going to start distributing rewards too. Forgotten Runiverse just went live a couple days ago, right? And I don't quite know how well they're monetizing in Pixel yet, but that's going to be the bet that you make when you go and stake to Forgotten Runiverse, right? We haven't done a distribution yet to them. The first distribution will be, see, they've only rewarded 56 pixel as like a test so far. The first distribution will hopefully be by the end of this week as well. You'll start to get a sense of, you know, how well they're performing. So what we're going to start to add in these dashboards is, you know, we have, it's funny. I saw somebody saying we need to like share more of the like in-game stats of pixels, we actually have been. This has been a public dashboard for the last 2 years of how well pixels is like doing week on week, right? Like you can see in the last 12 months, there's been 44 million pixels spent on VIP, 12 million pixels spent on in-game items. This has all been public for a long time. We'll start to include the metrics of each game in these dashboards moving forward so that you guys can see this as well. Most of this, actually, all this data is on chain, even for core pixels. For Pixel Dungeons, it's very on chain. There's even Dune dashboards that you can go and check. But it makes sense to add this in these dashboards too. So that'll be a really quick enhancement that we're going to add as quick as we can, basically, to show you guys this information. That way you don't have to go and like look through Dune dashboards. And this actually kind of connects with some of the products that we've been working on internally anyways. A lot of what we talk about is like data science sometimes, right? And this is actually going to be some of the first stuff that we start to surface and like some of the products we're building out. We're building out like return on reward spend, optimization tech, basically. This is what the smart rewards are. Like we basically want to help games increase their return on reward spend and build like a flywheel for that. Because if return on reward spend is positive, then that's when Web3 games start becoming sustainable. The economics are sustainable. And that's kind of the end goal.
Okay, we have 8 minutes left. Let's look at some questions. I'm sure there's also questions about what you're talking about. So why don't you look? Okay, go on.
Yeah, so some other questions too. So guys, if you are staking, the rewards don't get airdropped into your wallet automatically. You have to go and claim them. Let me not share that. You have to go and claim them. Here, let me connect my wallet really quickly. But yeah, it's a manual claim process to claim your rewards. When you go to claim the rewards, you can either claim the rewards or go and restake, right? Let me connect a different wallet really quickly. I can show you guys. So people also asked about the in-game balance. If you noticed, the in-game staked amount increased a lot for core pixels. And the reason is because we actually staked all the in-game balance on chain on behalf of users. So how we're actually doing the in-game staking is, we literally staked the in-game rewards, right? And this is the amount that I have staked. We staked in like a couple different wallets, right? I think somebody even sleuthed and saw that. But yeah, these are the in-game rewards that we'll be distributing to users. Like they're accruing in the in-game staking. And we're just literally going to like simulate staking on your behalf, send you guys in-game rewards. But yeah, if you want to claim rewards, you actually have to go and claim them. You go to the games, you go claim, or you can restake. Okay. Yeah, somebody asked, can you implement a way to move staking pixels from game to game instead of unstaking waiting 72 hours? I want to move my claimed rewards to a different game, but efficient as fast as possible. I agree. I think we should do that. So let me see if we can do that. The cool thing about the tech here actually is we created some really cool tech that basically each of these games, they're unique staking contracts, right? So that's a little hard to like move it from one contract to another without that. There might be a way that we can figure that out. If we can figure out how to make the unclaim process quicker, I think that makes sense. But also there's something interesting with the game theory of having that 72-hour period where like it makes you make better bets, right? Like you have to think about which game you're going to stake to a little bit more, right? You can't follow the APR immediately. So you have to make a better decision earlier on. Part of me kind of likes that game theory, but I also understand it probably makes sense to make it easy to move between games too.
Okay, there were a couple of questions not related to staking that I can quickly go through. The beta test that I mentioned, I leaked earlier. Yes, it is open for everyone. We want as many people playing it as possible, so it'll be kind of fun. And it will launch today. So we are only going to announce it on Discord. So make sure you have your notifications on. And I think it'll last a couple of days. How do I repair Geo's net? You can pick up a new one in the pet store. And then what was the other one? When can I interact with the new AI characters? So AI Veronica is bringing her friends, the Bachelor and Bachelorettes, to Terravilla tomorrow. So stay tuned. That one we will obviously be announcing everywhere.
Okay. Let's see if there's more questions here.
I think we've covered most.
Yeah. Can we see return on reward spend figure in the staking dashboard? Yes, it absolutely should be there. We'll try to get that in immediately. Yeah, we just released staking like last week, and yeah, we got like again, it went way better than I thought it would. I was like doing some estimates, and I thought, okay, we're gonna get like 25 million pixel stakes. So like kind of 2x. I thought we were gonna get 25 million pixel staked over the course of like a month. So at 2x my expectations within a week, which is great. That means that there is strong conviction from the community in what we're doing here, and that is very appreciated. Somebody asked about what about the 40 million pixel stake from community treasury? I think there's actually more like 90 million in the community treasury. So we're gonna open it up to DAO governance pretty soon. That will be for core pixels, right? And you guys will get to decide what to do with that. So what's great about the staking system is now we have like more means for governance with the token, right? And governance will probably be based on amount staked. And yeah, we have that mechanism now. So now there needs to be like a little legal work done to make sure that you guys can actually take, like the DAO can actually take management over the community treasury. But yeah, there's a couple other mechanisms in here too that we're working on as well. So right now there's still a split. Not all of the in-game revenue is returned to stakers. Some of it still goes to the community treasury. So basically there's some variables that we can add where, you know, if we want to send some of the rewards to stakers, we can do that. The rest will still get sent to community treasury. And yeah, we'll open up that governance soon. There's just like a little bit of groundwork that still needs to get done. Some things that the community can do, which would be cool, is that they wanted to basically augment rewards for like core pixel stakers. Maybe they could do that with the treasury there, for example. And some of the work that we're going to start to do too is we'll start to implement like purchases and other tokens too, which will be cool. When we start to do that, the cool thing is the rewards for pixel stakers, they don't necessarily have to just be pixel, right? Like say that Pixel Dungeons starts doing support for other tokens for payments, or even like fiat, right? The rewards that they give out to their stakers, it doesn't necessarily have to be pixel, right? Like it could be they give out USDC to the stakers of pixels. So we're going to start support for that kind of stuff too. And then, yeah, that's the idea. Somebody asked, Luke, pixel blockchain and always in your future projects. So here's how I feel about pixel chain. We explored it pretty heavily at one point. I actually think the better solution for the long term of the pixel ecosystem is just to be chain agnostic and kind of work everywhere. Rather than doing our own chain, what we want to do is we want to work with the best games all across Web3, and not just Web3, but Web2 also. That's actually quite important. A lot of what we're thinking about too is how do we make this model work for a game that isn't in Web3, and then still kind of bring in some of the Web3 components to them. Like for example, if we found a great indie game in Web2 that wanted to add prize pools to their game, right? One thing that we could do is we could still add them to the staking system, have some agreement with them, and then still return rewards to their stakers. They would get a prize pool, right? And they might not even know it's Web3, right? Like I actually kind of want to not even tell their end user that the rewards or the prize pool is coming from Web3. But you guys who are Web3 native, you would know that, you know, we're working with them. Maybe their players wouldn't. And then you could still stake to that game. That would be pretty interesting, right? So there's some stuff that we're thinking about with that as well.
Okay, and I saw someone talking about the AI agent. No, the AI agent is only in English for now. But I saw someone saying that I only have Pixel in game, so now I have to take it out to go and pick up one of the keys. This is a perfect use case for vPixel, and you are correct. So it's too bad we don't have it live right now, but that's a really good example of something that it would be really useful for.
Yeah, so vPixel, that should be coming out by, it should be coming out by end of month if I was giving a timeline. We want it out quickly because it's actually a really great benefit where if you don't want to pay the farmer fee, you can take out vPixel and you can go and stake it still. Or you can go and spend it in Pixel Dungeons on something like this whitelist feature or in Forgotten Runiverse, or really any partner project. So we're very excited about it.
Can't you buy the AI agent keys in game too? Yes, absolutely. There's just a slight discount on the ones on the Veronica website right now. So obviously people want to get those ones. But yeah.
Yeah, so how to stake in game again. So you don't have to do anything. The first distribution will be coming probably by end of this week. And again, you're not missing out on rewards. They're accruing. We already staked on behalf of the users. You're not missing out on any like actual rewards. You might just get like a bigger first reward, and then you'll get on the same page as the on-chain stakers soon.
Okay, cool. Any last things you wanted to?
When fees removed, the farmer fees are here to stay, people. So yeah, they're here to stay. Is the land boost included in the 51 million pixels staked? Yes. But again, the in-game method of calculating the rewards is different, right? So we staked basically all the in-game pixel, all the balance of in-game pixel on chain, right? So there's like 28 million pixel in-game that's not in bot accounts right now. And yeah, we staked that on behalf of users, but then we added some requirements to be able to have in-game staking. You need to have 100 pixel and you need to have logged in at least once a month in order to be eligible. Because there are a lot of inactive accounts basically that, why give them pixel if they haven't logged in a long time, right? The requirements are very low, but yeah, it basically means that we can give the people who are active more pixel for that reason. So if you have pixel staked, you don't have to do anything. It'll just come into your mailbox. I do think it makes sense to like show the in-game staking as well. But yes. Okay, what else?
No, I want to address this. You know, you wouldn't be happy with this either, right? Like we had 6 and we have 8. Like, come on, guys. Because I'm so annoyed with this question being asked 24/7, what I'm going to propose is that it's random and you don't know if it's going to be 6, 7, or 8. How about that? No, I'm kidding, guys. Okay, go on. Is there anything else here?
Like y'all are sharing wrong info on purpose. What did we share that's wrong, guys? Like literally, just be more specific sometimes, because this is why we do these AMAs. Like if you're confused at any point, or if you're if you think that there's something that we miscommunicated, like let us know. But you gotta be more specific than that.
All right.
Do you know how many players are angry both because of the fee and the state of the task board? So this is a very important point. Again, there were a lot of users who actually didn't really care about the game, if I'm being completely honest, and didn't really have the best interest of the long term of the ecosystem in mind. And that's what this farmer fee is supposed to kind of, incentivize and like help create alignment again. The fee is not going away. It's going to be a permanent part of the ecosystem even. And what you'll actually maybe even see is eventually partner games might even be implementing vPixel rewards. You all said pixels were auto staked in game, but now I got to connect my wallet on the site to start. No, if you have pixel in game, you don't have to even do any of the on-chain stuff. You'll have an in-game airdrop into the game through the mailbox feature in order to receive the staking rewards. There's nothing that you have to do. The first distribution hasn't gone live yet. We are not lying to you. We're not giving out bad information. And you're even still getting that yield. Your first distribution in game will be a little bit bigger because we haven't given it out yet, but it's all being collected right now. You don't have to do anything. And we're still working on it. We've not lied to you. Yeah, it's funny. some final points. This is kind of interesting. I think Web3 gaming sentiment is maybe the lowest I've seen in the last like 2 or 3 years right now. I think Web3 gaming sentiment might be worse than even in like the 2023 era or even like late 2022 after FTX. And I know people are saying this and like are frustrated because they've seen a lot of like very bad actors and bad teams in the space. And I know you guys have been hurt, but there are actually good teams building in this space, and there's teams that are really trying, right? We care so much about what we're building here. We care about the users that care about the long term of the game and the ecosystem. And yeah, this is what we're working towards. We want to build a sustainable Web3 game that lasts, right? The stuff that wasn't working before wasn't working, right? If we kept the Pixel ecosystem as it was before we added things like these fees or the staking ecosystem, it was going to die, right? And I think some people have the mindset of, I just want to earn and take away as much from the game as possible. And if it dies, they deserved it. But yeah, I am not going to be building for that kind of person. I'm so sorry. But I actually won't. Well, actually, I'm not that sorry. Yeah. So, we're building something that we have to keep building for the next 5 to 7 years at least, right? Like, hopefully I'm at Pixels for a very, very long time. And I intend to be, right? So I have to dedicate my life to this. And I am only going to be building things that I am fully convicted will be working in the long run. And if it's not working, we got to make some changes, right? So the farmer fees are a great example of a feature that we knew some people wouldn't like. But again, the people that are more in the long term of the ecosystem, I think they understand it. And we're going to be building for those people. So yeah, some people even were mentioning like, oh, I think DAU is down, right? DAU is a little bit down, right? We introduced some features that really, really gated access to the core game. Like for example, we made it so that you can only interact with the marketplace if you have VIP now, right? And that cut our DAU a good amount, right? And we definitely lost bots and we lost some real users too. And losing real users, it's not a good feeling. But then some of these users, it has to kind of, it's a part of the step in the process, right? So our intention moving forward is we are focused on core gameplay. Like that's super important. That's part of what we're doing with the ecosystem side of things. We want to bring in more games that use the Pixel token that are also great. So you don't just have to rely on core Pixel's team, right? We're decentralizing this a little bit more, right? And we're kind of having more utility for the Pixel token by working with these other teams and building out this system, right? Two, we are really trying to revamp the core Pixel game. But I will say the revamp is going to be for people who are more interested in the long term of the game and interested in like actual gameplay as well too. So some of you are, which is great. And these are the people that we care about their opinions on. And these are the people who we'll be building for. Like, yes, if you care about what chapter 3 looks like and you care about chapter 3 being as good as possible, we want your feedback. And like, this is very important because this is kind of this is the stage where we're trying to figure out the long term. Now, the strategy with the core game and what we're thinking about is we have to make a game that people love for the gameplay also. It's not there yet, and we know that. But that means that we're also changing some of the decision-making in the short term too, where we're not going to be changing and like focusing so much on the short term, especially when it comes to the players that are only earn motivated. Like if you are just playing the game because you only care about the earn part and you're a little frustrated with the farmer fee and you don't care about what's going on with chapter 3 or this other stuff, then yeah, maybe it's not the right fit in the long term, right? But if you care about what the game is going to be looking like in the long run, you want to get feedback, you want to build with us, and you want to earn while you're doing it, then that's great. And we want to be building for you. So yeah, that's the idea. And yeah, this is kind of the idea too. It is interesting, right? When there's less people playing, there's more pixel per user too. And how long is the long term? The long term is however long it takes to make something work, right? My mission statement here and the Pixel mission statement is to build a sustainable Web3 ecosystem, right? And we're not going to stop until we do that. I won't feel like my job is done until we actually have a Web3 game that works. And the stuff that was there before, there were some things that were working correctly and some things that weren't, right? So yeah, that's the idea. So the idea is like we wanted to shrink the audience a little bit, right? And then we wanted to make sure that we were building with the right people and growing a better user base that cares about the long term of the game. So if it takes 2 to 4 years, that's fine. Maybe, hopefully not, but we'll still be here.
Okay. All right. And with that, I will just mention actually, tomorrow I'm going to be the very first guest on Runiverse's new live stream podcast. I don't know if they're calling it a podcast, but it's called Otherworldly Show. So I'll be the first episode, the first guest. I'm really excited. I get to I actually haven't had time to play Runiverse yet. So I'm going to be doing it on the live stream tomorrow and I'm so excited. So stay tuned for that. I think it's at 11 a.m. ET, Eastern time, like New York time. I don't know. I don't know what time that is in other time zones. I'm sorry. It is at 5 p.m. Central European time, which is 3 p.m. UTC. There you go. Okay. Need to do a little math. And yeah, with that, thank you guys. Have your Discord notifications on because we got the beta test launching today. We've got the AI Veronica coming to town tomorrow. There's so much going on. And of course, we will see you next week on our live stream. Bye, guys.